Hello everyone, my name is Nishikant Vase and currently I am working as a senior scientist at School of Medicine, University of Virginia. And today I'm going to talk about the career opportunities for Indian students in US. And today I'm going to talk about career opportunities for life science students outside India. So today I divided this talk into four different parts. So first I'm going to give you a career overview. I'm going to talk about how from academia in India, how you can move from academia in India to industry outside India. I'll talk about certain job search strategies and I'll give you a list of potential field of jobs for life science graduates. So, as a student who has done his graduation or post graduation degree, there are certain areas where we can get jobs. Okay, so say for example, if you are a student who's done his undergraduate in maybe life sciences, maybe biochemistry, molecular biology, botany, or zoology, then you go on do your post graduation degree or master's degree in one of the subject. Some of them might do their PhD. If you consider them as a student, then you have three different areas, three different streams where you can seek employment. First is academia. From a PhD student or from a student, when you go to up to that level, you could seek employment as a tenure track professor, and at the end you could end up as a tenured professor or department chair. The second stream, which is called as educator, just like lecturer in India. Okay, so these people they spend 100% of their time teaching in universities, and you can start with that, and at the end of your career you could be a dean of school. There's a second stream which is seeking employment in government organization, in research institutes or non-profit organizations, where you could go and work as a scientist, and at the end of your career you could be a director or a chief of that section. If you look at the industry, the situation is slightly different here. Uh, as a You can start in those industry companies, in science or in business. You could be a manager, you could be a principal scientist, or you could be a director, you could be a vice president, or you could be a CEO. So these are the different tracks for available for Indian students to work in industry or government research or academia outside India, and these are the uh, uh, places where they can go, and you can start at the first level of the ladder and you can get on the top of it. So there are different industries where a person with life degree in life sciences can seek employment. First is pharmaceutical industry. So this industry is basically deals with chemical synthesis. It deals with synthesis of small molecule. It could be drugs, it could be herbicide, it could be pesticides. There are companies like Pfizer, BMS, or Bristol Myers Squibb, or Merck, and as you have heard about uh, certain drugs like aspirin, statins, Viagra, antibiotics, Prozac. So these are the drugs are manufactured by these pharmaceutical companies, and there are a lot of jobs available in those companies. The second area where a lot of life science graduates can seek employment is biotechnology industry. So the biotechnology industry is basically deals with biological molecules such as DNA, RNA, protein, viruses, antibodies, hormones. And there are companies such as Genentech, Amgen, Genzyme, Gilead. So this Gilead company is currently making a vaccine for coronavirus, and it's right now in phase 2 trial. There are companies called Biogen, Jingo Bioworks. ExxonMobil is a company which is a petroleum company, ExxonMobil and Shell, and they are also looking to find a solution for petroleum as a substitute in biology. And the company like synthetic genomics. There is a third set of industry or companies which are in the category of biotools, reagents, and service industry. So all these life sciences work or healthcare work or um, industries. So they need a lot of things, lot of instrument, lot of reagents, and there are companies which provide those things. So these are also a big avenue for students to look for jobs. So these are companies which provide instruments, tools, enabling technology and services. There are companies which provide microscope, which sell microscope, provide reagents, software, services. There are companies like Affymetrix, Zeiss, Promega. So these companies, these make uh, microscopes which are very high quality microscopes. Affymetrix is a company which makes microarray. Promega is a company which make a lot of biochemical assay kits. Okay, this Applied Biosystem company is a company which make high-end microscopes. Sorry, mass spectrometers. Oxford Nanopore is a company which makes sequencers. So these are the different companies which provide solutions and instruments and tools to do biology. Okay, and these are also good options for students who are looking for jobs in life science industry. Then there is another area to look for jobs is called medical devices. So medical devices means there are instruments or software which are used for diagnostic or therapeutic purpose. Such as if you go to a hospital, you will find there are instruments which do MRI. There are instruments which will do X-ray. There are technologies which will look for things inside your stomach, inside your heart. Okay, so these kind of instruments, everything is science, and within those scientific companies, they need people who know science, and that's where a lot of life science people can find jobs. So there are companies like Johnson and Johnson, GE, General Electric, Medtronic, Philips, Boston Scientific, Abbott Laboratories. So these companies make a lot of things such as stents. Stents are small artificial tubes which are put into your heart, or MRI, or surgical equipment, or defibrillator, or even the ventilators which are now required for everyone who is suffering from coronavirus. Okay, so these are different companies. Uh, they require people who have degree in life sciences. Then there are people who do biofuels and green technologies. The company who deals with biofuels and green technologies. Okay, so biofuel means normally you go to a petrol pump and you fill the petrol in your car or your bike, but that petrol is coming from a non-renewable source which is present inside the earth, but that source is finite, and soon that's what people say, you might run out of petrol in next 30, 50, 40, 50 years. So that's why companies or people are trying to find an alternative to this, and this is where the biofuel companies came into picture. So they are trying to make petrol from either algae or from other plants, and there are companies who works in that, and they do hire a lot of people who have specifically plant biology experience. So our ultimate goal should be to enjoy a job. Okay, and as Peter David said, if you are doing what you love, then it's not really a work. So, as an Indian student, so what should we do to search a good job in international market, and what are the difficulties we could face? The first thing is it's very difficult. Well, it's difficult everywhere, so it's very difficult. Apart, as we seek jobs inside India, we don't have to worry about visa and immigration concern. But if you go outside India and try to find job, uh, there are concerns about immigration and the visas, and these are very complex and issues, and which could create a lot of misunderstanding. So you have to make sure that you understand all these things correctly while seeking jobs outside India. And it's because hiring international students could be costly and time consuming. Okay, and most of the industries, they are either in American continent or in Europe, and what they need is people who come and work in their companies should have good English skills. If you don't have good English skills, you can't survive there. And this is the reason why lot of places, people who are coming from India are preferred over people who are coming either from China or any other South Asian countries, because as compared to them, people who are from India are better equipped handling English language. Okay, so what are the different avenues for Indian undergrad or graduates to look for jobs outside India? So these are the different areas where, as a life science student or life science person, we can seek opportunities. Like, say, for example, if you have a degree in engineering, it could be a chemical engineering, it could be a biological engineering, it could be a mechanical engineering, or it could be a maybe electronic engineering. Okay, so you could as a person, or even a normal biologist, you could seek opportunities in these areas, specifically in product development, in project management, and in product support, in operation and manufacturing, in quality control, in biology based IT, or in law. Okay, so these are the areas which are available as uh, places for employment for people who are engineers, and who want to seek opportunities in medical device and biotech tool companies. Then people who want to do research, or people who have research experience. So those peoples are like salt. They could get fit anywhere in these different sections. A person who has skills in research can go to anywhere and can fit in anywhere. There will be a situation where people, they might have done their degree in engineering, or their degree in undergraduate degree in biology, or maybe molecular biology or biochemistry, and after that they had a degree in management like MBA. So people like that, who has a business background now, it could be a situation which is beneficial for them, and there are more opportunities for those people in project management, in medical affairs, in marketing, sales, corporate communication, business development, operation and manufacturing, law, venture capitalism, management consultant, and so on. And as a person who is seeking employment, most of the people, our goal is to earn good money, and these are the areas within this life cycle of different section in the life cycle life sciences industry, like people who works in clinical development, people who works in medical affairs, marketing, sales, business development, management consultant. They earn the most amount of money. And within that life cycle, there are very hot jobs in preclinical research, in pharmaceutical product development, project management, clinical development, sales, and IT. These are the hot jobs available in this sector. So, what are the positions available for students? So, there are positions of senior research associate in portfolio. There are positions of project coordinators. There are positions in budgetary and strategy. There are positions in liaison. Liaison is a person who connects the industry people with the government people, okay, and which are mostly related to regulation. And there are people who are involved in marketing, sales representative, trainer, manager, technical support, medical writer, analyst, quality systems, and associates. So these are kind of positions are mostly available for students who had undergraduate degree or postgraduate degree. But people who did their doctoral degree, or who had maybe 2 or 3 years worth of research experience after their doctoral degree, these are the situations or positions could be available for those people. You could be a scientist, you could be a project coordinator, you could be a medical writer, you could be a FDA liaison, you could be a medical scientific liaison, MSL. You could do market research, you could be involved in technical sales rep. So there is a difference between a normal sales rep and technical sales rep. So technical sales rep generally um, earn more money because of their higher technical knowledge. You could work as a medical writer, you could work in a startup, bioinformatician, consultant, and so on. So there are so many careers to choose, and everyone want to have an ideal job where this is the ideal job where you want something which interests you, you want something which use your skills, and you want something which gives you the best value in terms of money within within the market, and that's the kind of a job everyone want to look for. So as a student, if you are undergraduate or postgraduate, so this is the ladder, career ladder, which is available for you. So as a student, undergraduate or postgraduate, you could be research associate. After you work for 3 to 5 years as a research associate, you could be promoted as a senior research associate. But after that, your advancement will be stopped there, because after that you can't go beyond any further. Okay, but if you have a PhD, okay, and if you once you spend maybe 2 or 3 years in research after your PhD, these are the positions options which are available for you. You could be a scientist 1, 2, or 3. You could be a group leader, you could be a director, you could be a vice president of research, you could be a vice president of R&D section, and you could be a CEO. So these are the different options available for students who has advanced degrees like PhD. So now, once we know what are the different jobs available for us, so the question is how to search for those jobs, because looking for a job could be a full-time job, right? So you have to apply for jobs that interest you. Okay, you have to apply for a job which has similar skills, which require similar skill set which you have, and you have to just start somewhere to look for jobs. um, Apply it. If you are lucky, you will get an interview. Don't worry if you get rejected, because the more you interview, the more likely you will find a most appealing job. So right now, in we are in 21st century, we are in 2020, and everyone has a smartphone, everyone has access to internet, and lot of things, lot of job hunting, and all these things happen on internet. and specifically they use a website called LinkedIn. So all the people who has a job, who are looking for a job, you will find those people on LinkedIn. Okay, so it's like a Facebook for people who look for jobs. Okay, the greater your LinkedIn network, the more access you have. You have to join some specific LinkedIn group based on your interest and based on your job preferences. You have to join certain alumni organization based on certain keywords. uh, you can focus um, your search on a specific area. Email address is the way to contact people and to get information from them. uh, Most important thing, specifically for especially for Indian students, people coming from India, guys, keep it professional. Whatever political affiliations you have, keep it private. Do not bring that on LinkedIn or in social media, because these days everyone scan everyone on social media. If you are looking for a job, and if you contact a recruiter based on based, uh, based on an advertisement posted there, if they like you, the first thing they'll do is scan for you on the internet. And if they found out that you have written certain bad things about a woman, you have written certain bad things about minorities, about other people, I'm I can tell you right now that this is a big no-no. And once people know about that, and if they blacklist you, you will never ever get a job in your life ever. So clean up your social media thing and then start your job search. Don't do after that, and always keep it professional. So say for example, and we call that, whatever I've told you just now, we call that as networking on the internet. Say for example, if someone has a degree in plant sciences and want to look for a job in plant biology or plant biotechnology, so how would you find people, how would you find companies where you can connect with people, network with people? Okay, so say for example, if you Google plant breeding conference, you can get some set of conferences where you can get name of people who are talking in that conferences. You can get name of people, uh, keynote speakers and authors. Once you get their name, then you can search their name in LinkedIn. You might find about their companies. You can contact them, you can connect with them, and you should never tell them directly that you are looking for a job. So set in a subtle way, you have to talk to them and finally tell them that okay, you are open for new opportunities, and maybe you can talk about a specific opportunity, and that's how you network with people and connect with people. So these are the different resources for students. uh, if you have a resume to post, you can post in these websites, and these websites based on your resume information and your keywords will send you jobs uh, which are relevant to your skills. There are career fairs, which can be uh, where you can go. It's an online career fair, and you can register there, and they will send you information on it, and then you can start applying for jobs. There are websites which provide up-to-date information on what's happening in the biology world, what's happening in different job market. So that's how you can get more updated information. So there will be people in the audience who are listening right now, who are applying for jobs in India, maybe a bank PO job, or any other NPSC or UPSC, or Pradesh Service Commission. So the way job search and the whole procedure work in India is very different than what happened outside India. But one thing is certain, like the number of candidate, and at the end the job, the person who is getting job is a huge list, and this is what here as well. So say for example, if you are seeking job in industry, and if a job is posted, so the company target that maybe they want at least 200 people to read that job advertisement, and they expect that at least maybe 10, 12, 20 or 30 people should apply to it, whereas in India perhaps it will be 10 times more. Okay, and India, what happened once you apply it, you apply, you fill a form, and then you apply for it. At the end they'll ask you, they'll conduct an exam, and from through that exam, people were shortlisted. Outside India, it's not done like that. So once they added a job, they'll ask people to submit their resumes. They'll scan those resumes. The companies look into the resumes, and from those pool of 50, 60 resumes, they'll select maybe 10, 12. Okay, and then they will contact those people via telephone, talk to them. Again, this there are like at least three levels of telephonic interviews. One would be with the HR, and one would be with the person or department where you are looking for the opportunity. And then if you are an international person, then their law department, someone from the law department will contact you and talk about the opportunities, and obstacles, and see how you could bring that country as quickly as possible. Okay, so these are all telephonic interviews will be done. Once that happens, and from that, the list started to get smaller and smaller. Finally, out of this pool of 200 to 400 people, they'll come down to maybe four people, and they'll ask those four people, they'll fly down those four people to their office, and they ask those people to give presentation, which is called an in-person interview. And this in-person interview is not for half an hour. This is generally run for almost a day. So within that interview, a candidate has to meet at least 10 different people. Everyone will assess you. They will also take you to a hotel for lunch. But even that time, people are watching you, and they will note each and everything what you do. And you make a small mistakes throughout the day, you will be out. And out of those three and four people, finally they'll offer a job to one person. So outside India, your resume is the most important document you have, because you can't go to 100 places, but your resume can. And your resume is the document which advertise, or which you can use to sell yourself, to sell your skill set to different companies. Okay, but you have to make the resume in such a way that normally all the HR people in the companies, they won't give more than 5 seconds. They just look at the resume. If they don't like it, they just throw in the trash can. So you have to make sure that out of all these resumes you can see in this picture, your resume should be picked up. That's a skill, that's a presentation skill you have to learn, so that every time you send a resume, your resume should be picked up. That doesn't mean that you should make your resume beautiful. That doesn't mean that you should make your resume colorful. But you have to present that information, your skill set, in such a way that the person who is reading it should attract it to that resume. You have to make sure that you provide the required keyword which shows that you have enough skills which is required for the position you applied for. You have to highlight and show how you could be the best candidate among the pool of all these other candidates. Okay. And also, like, even though you don't have that habit of sending a cover letter, but outside India, you always have to send a cover letter with your resume. And for every cover letter, for every position you apply, don't just do copy paste. You have to make sure that write it down. You have to make sure that you align your cover letter with the job description, which shows that you spend some time to read through job description and write the cover letter. Because if you don't show in your cover letter that you spend time, which shows that you are not interested in, if you don't show that, the person who's reading your letter will assume that you don't have any interest, and at the end your resume and your cover letter end up like this in trash can. Because of the high volume of applications, so these days companies have employed a thing called as ATS system. It's called as application tracking system. Okay, so what this does, so whenever we send resumes based on the job description or based on the description of the position, it will try to find people who are more relevant to that position, and it will reject other people. So we want to make sure that whenever we send an application, whenever we send a CV, our CV should be selected by the ATS system, which means that you have to look for certain unique keywords in the job description, and we have to make sure that those keywords are present in our cover letter and in our CV. If we do that, then only it will be selected by the ATS system. Okay, so all these things are very different from what is normally done in India. So ultimately, you send your resume, you pass through all those processes like telephonic interview and all those things, and finally the day will arrive that you will get a mail saying that, okay, you have an interview scheduled on a specific date, which means that you have already passed the technical test, which means that based on the company, they think that you are a good match for that company, and now they want you to come personally and face the interview. So at that situation, you have to do certain things. You have to research the company, you have to know what they do, you have to know the history of the company, you have to know what are their products. So go and research about that company. Normally whenever they send an interview offer, they will also send a list of people who is going to meet you. So if possible, try to learn about those people, try to learn about who they are, try to learn about what their background is, because once you know about those people, it's easy to talk with them. Other thing to consider is to anticipate the interview questions. You have to anticipate certain standard interview questions, and you have to answer them. You have to dress accordingly. Don't dress too gaudy, don't dress too outrageous, uh, don't use too outrageous outfits, don't use very dark smelly perfumes. Don't do that. Just use plain casual dresses, as or we call it business casual. Clarify your selling points and the reason you want to job. So you have to sell yourself to a set of people, to tell them that you are the best person for that position for which they are interviewing, because you are the one who is selling your skill set to bunch of strangers. In the end, line up your questions for the interview just as the people who are interviewing you are asking questions. They also expect that you should ask some questions to them about their work culture, about how the company works, about how uh, is the ladder for to go up, things like that. Once you finish your personal interview, you should send a thank you email to most of the people you meet. So, which means that while you're talking with them, you should try to get their contact addresses and the HR contact address. And once you finish that, within 5 to 6 hours, you should send a thank you note to all of them. So these are the standard practices which is required for a successful interview and successful job hunt outside India. So where are the jobs? There are jobs in academia, there are jobs in pharmaceutical industry, there are jobs in CRO, that means contract research organization, and CMO, contract management organizations. There are jobs in biofuel industry, there are jobs in bioreactor industry, fermentation, microbiology, plant genetics. There are jobs in small venture capitals backed companies. There are certain hot jobs and potential growth sector in healthcare, biogeneric and biosimilar similars. There are a lot of jobs in biofuels and green and clean technology companies, water purification, energy, personalized medicine, combination therapy, telemedicine, healthcare, IT industry, mobile healthcare applications, and so on and so forth. Because these days everything is going online, everything is electronic. So there are a lot of jobs in healthcare informatics and healthcare electronic records. There are a lot of jobs in laboratory automation, bioinformation, bioinformatics, data management, because the amount of data generated by each one of us is huge, and there are a lot of people are required who can manage that data. So that's what is data management. There are jobs in regulatory affairs, discovery research, and there is the intersection of life and computer science training. So all in all, the future of life science remains promising. I think it's because there is a significant medical need. Uh, there is significant medical need required in a lot of areas. There are a lot of neurological disorders, cancer, infectious disease, diabetes, obesity, cardiovascular disease, and as people are living longer, there is an aging population all over the world, and all these aging people needs care. Okay, and needs care means they need more people to work in those pharmaceutical and healthcare industry, and that's where all those life science graduates can come and play an important role. So in conclusion, there are over more than 100 different careers in academia, industry, and government. There are many different industries in which you can work. You have to find a vocation that best suits your interest, skills, and goals. Um, and at the end, I will say that be flexible about your job search, because your first job will not be your last. With that, I'll stop here. Thank you very much.